Welcome to another extreme Ramadan feast in downtown Hyderabad, India. What we got here is a serious Hyderabadi chicken chow fest coupled with a first-time Haleem taste test. And hell, we even got a sampling of some mighty fine Ramadan sweets thrown into the mix. So you better grab a treat and you best be taking a seat because the show is about to begin. So I was strolling and patrolling around downtown Hyderabad, India, feeling those buck wild Ramadan Kareem vibes, baby. And I figured in order to celebrate the season, I might as well shove large quantities of authentic Ramadan food directly down my throat. So I sprinted on over to a famous local establishment called Shah Gaus Cafe to get my Hyderabadi food fix. I mean, hey, I was participating in a Ramadan fast myself, and truth be told, I needed something to eat. And as you can see, I ordered myself up a serious chicken-based chow fest. Here we got us some famous Hyderabadi chicken biryani, and in my personal opinion, it's looking pretty SWADISHT. We even have some extra biryani on the side, it's just that massive, baby, and what's this? Oh, you best believe I got my chicken biryani with a side of chicken kebab. And aside from that chicken action, we also got some side dishes chillaxing over here. Here we got some Pudina Chutney, aka mint chutney, we also got some yogurt action, and we got some salan action. And last of all, we got that ever so zesty plate of sliced onions and lime. So I started savagely spooning into that salan because truth be told, I not only wanted to break my fast, I actually needed to. So for the sake of my own survival, I mixed that salan into the biryani, then shoved a spoonful towards my head. And wow, crazy as it may sound, as soon as I took that bite, my extreme fasting-induced exhaustion started to subside. Slowly but surely, I could feel my energy levels returning, and I must say, that was a close one. I mean, hey, I was rocking not a 1.5, but a 2-hour fast over here, and truth be told, I was feeling so crazed with hunger that I damn near saw my life flashing before my eyes. Nevertheless, disaster was averted thanks in no small part to this buck wild biryani. Now, the actual chicken in this biryani was a tad dry and not too tender, but the rice itself? It was tasting so SWADISHT that it most definitely changed my life, presumably for the better. I mean, it was tasting fluffy yet dense, and it was spicy to the max, plus it was rich beyond belief. And I could not only see a whole lot of cumin seeds floating around in that biryani, but I could actually taste them. Seemed like a pretty good opportunity to take a huge-ass bite out of an onion slice, don't ya think? Anyway, as I'm sure you know well enough, no chicken meal is complete without a side of chicken, and I figured I'd best be trying this out. So I grabbed myself a nice chicken kebab chunk and started dipping it into that Pudina Chutney. That chutney was rocking a nice nuclear neon green, and I was getting pretty excited to try it out. So after glancing at that chicken for but a moment, I took myself a pensive chomp. And wow, just wow, that was some pretty nice chicken right there, some decent chicken right there. Something about that hotly spiced turmeric chicken coupled with that cooling mint chutney had a really nice flavor contrast. That chutney had some mint and cilantro flavors, although it tasted more like yogurt than anything else, and I mean that in a good way. With those cool and hot flavor combos, this is slightly reminiscent of buffalo chicken wings in America, and I gotta say, I'm loving them to bits. Come to think of it, these vegetables weren't half bad neither. I mean, when you're rocking a 2-hour fast, you're not really thinking about vegetables to break that fast, but as soon as I bit down on those vegetables, I had to reconsider. Those vegetables were fresh as hell, gingery to the max, and SWADISHT as fuck. And all that considered, I think I'd have to rate this chicken kebab dish a 4 out of 5 Stray Dawgs. I mean, that chicken was pretty damn good and was almost perfect. It was just a tad too cartilagey for my liking. Nevertheless, that was some borderline arousing chicken if you ask me. And as far as that chicken biryani was concerned, I wasn't too impressed with that chicken itself, but that rice on the other hand, oh man, it was melt on your dick delicious. Plus the salan was pretty delicious as well. It had a nice sesame seed sourness to it, along with a coconutty creaminess and a peanutty richness. So with all that taken into account, I think I'd have to rate this chicken biryani sans chicken a 5 out of 5 Stray Dawgs. I mean, not only was it tasting edible and incredible, but it also provided me with enough energy to overcome that 2-hour fast. And it's times like this that I get to wondering, why do they call this city Hyderabad? Because there's so many delish foods in the city that I think they should call it Hydra Good. But hey, I'm getting a tad off topic over here. Point of the matter is, I was still feeling a tad hungry from that intense 2-hour fast. So I decided to boost on over to another famous establishment called Pista House. Now, during the Ramadan season, the normal restaurant in this place closes down and the whole staff turns into a massive takeout food operation. And their most famous food of all is a Muslim dish called Haleem. Supposedly this is the best restaurant in Hyderabad to get Haleem, and it's so good that it's actually exported worldwide during Ramadan. Now, Haleem is basically a calorically dense food that's perfect for breaking that Ramadan fast. And although this container warned about the possibility of goat bones in here, I figured I'd give it a go. I mean, to be perfectly honest with you, ever since coming into Hyderabad, I've been looking forward to eating Haleem a lot. I've been looking forward to eating Haleem a real fucking lot. Apparently this stuff is made from wheat, goat meat, ghee, spices, dried fruits, and a whole lot of other ingredients. Shit's getting crazy around here. So let's take a look at that Haleem and whoa, what in the wide world of sports is that? That's some wild sticky texture if you ask me, so I took myself a bite and whoa. I heard the stuff is cooked for about 8 hours, so that meat is damn near liquefied by the time you bite it. Sounds good in concept, but in actual practice, I'm not so sure about this Haleem. It tastes like a peppery, spiced up, grease-coated, goat-based goop. I mean, to me it has a glue-like consistency, and I feel like it must be an acquired taste. So even though I was really looking forward to that Haleem, and even though a lot of people will probably be up in arms about my decision, I think I'm gonna have to rate this Haleem a 3 out of 5 Stray Dawgs. I mean, it tasted pretty good, I just found the texture to be a tad too goopy for my liking. And on top of that, I wasn't a big fan of the random chance of biting down on a goat bone. But hey, to each their own, sweetie buns. Anyway, aside from that Haleem, the Pista House also served up a whole lot of Ramadan sweets, and I figured I'd give them a go. Now at the time I didn't really know what half this shit was, but sometimes you just gotta dive dick first into the unknown. So I didn't really know which one to try out first, but I've had pretty good experiences with things served in clay pots, so I figured I'd go for that. And after ripping off that aluminum foil, all I gotta say is oh my charminar. That's a seriously SWADISHT looking dessert right there. Apparently it's called Badam Kesar Rabdi, and I was getting pretty excited to take myself a baby spoonful. And the exact fraction of a New Delhi nanosecond that I took myself a bite, I realized I was dealing with a top-notch dessert over here. Man, oh man, it was tasting creamy beyond belief. Apparently it's made from cream, sugar, cardamom, saffron, and crushed almonds and pistachio nuts. But whatever it's made out of, it kicked up my life and my blood sugar up a notch. and I gotta say, I was loving it in a big fucking way. So what else we got here? We got us some Kaddu Ka Kheer on deck. Basically, this is supposed to be some kind of rice pudding made from a local green gourd of sorts. Sounds pretty promising, so I figured I'd gourd up and take myself a bite. And overall, the flavor was kinda similar to the previous dessert, albeit a bit less thick and a bit less nutty. Nevertheless, definitely a pretty buck wild and life-altering dessert if you ask me. So I pretty much cleared those desserts out, and I figured I'd move on with my life, moving on to the next dessert to be exact. This right here is a mixed fruit salad in custard, and I think it's pretty hard to go wrong with that combo. This thing's got apple, banana, mango, and pomegranate in it. Sounds pretty buck wild in my book. So I started shoveling that fruit down my throat and getting some antioxidants in the process. And even though I don't think I've ever had fruit with custard before, actually it's a pretty good combo. I'm also loving the fact that these sweets I've had so far aren't actually that sweet. So because of that, I feel like I can get away with eating a whole lot more. Can you actually fucking blame me? Now, I couldn't say the same for these other sweets, unfortunately. This right here is some Anjeer Ka Meetha, and it's made from fresh figs. And after I started chowing down through this one, I gotta say the flavor was simply incredible. The fig quality was insanely good, and they were extremely soft. The only problem I had was this was just a tad too sweet. It was as sweet as a jam, actually, and I figured I'd try to use it later on some toast for breakfast. The same was also true of this Khubani Ka Meetha. It was sweet as hell, but also delicious to the max. Apparently it's made from apricots, and I'm thinking it most definitely will go well with some toast and some tea action. So if I had to give a general rating for all the desserts I just had, I think I'd have to give them a 5 out of 5 Stray Dawgs. After all, not only were they SWADISHT as hell, but they also helped me to recover from that crazy-ass 2-hour fast. Anyway, that about does it for this Indian food tour, but if you want to see more, then feel free to check out my previous episode. It's got even more high-caloric Ramadan-based foods, and I got that link in the description box. And as always, thanks for watching this video. Why don't you leave a comment, let me know what you think.